Riot police have started pushing protesters away from the government area of downtown Kiev, using flashbangs and rubber bullets and dismantling the barricades the rioters had put up. RT's Alexei Rashevsky is in Kiev with the very latest for us now. Alexei, good to see you. What can you tell us? What's going on the ground?
Indeed, just minutes ago, the police attempted to push the protesters off the government's accord off the Grushevskoye Street once again, just like it was done the night before. And again, as the night before, the police is now back to its position over there. You can see the police line. What they did basically is they dismantled another barricade which was set on Tuesday morning by the protesters. Now the barricade no longer exists, but the police withdrew back to its original position. Just to give you the idea how far they pushed the protesters out, they basically were right here underneath where I'm standing right now. So this is around 70 meters from their position right now. That's where they moved. And we actually managed to film them from the balcony where we're standing right now. They were underneath us. My cameraman says that some of the policemen were in fact pointing weapons at him, but then he shouted press and they started doing that. Also, there are some serious worries and concerns coming right now with unconfirmed rumors that 2 rioters have been killed in the clashes. Still unclear whether this was caused by the police or this was caused by some sort of accident. The information has not been yet officially confirmed from authorities or any medical services, but this is certainly adding much more fuel to the fire. The atmosphere here now is reaching its climax. It's absolutely tense here. We see from time to time the Molotov cocktails are thrown at the police. The same story has been happening all through the night. As my colleague Peter Oliver reports, he went to the riot scene and did this report for us.
I'm here on what has essentially become the front line between demonstrators and police here in central Kiev. These barricades that have been set up are barricades that have been made from the burnt out police vehicles that have been taken in the previous 2 nights of violence. On Tuesday night we saw Molotov cocktails and a whole lot of fireworks thrown at police who are around 30 meters just behind me. Here, just in front of the government quarter, as it's being called, where many important government buildings are, well, it's really resulted in a standoff between police and demonstrators. You can hear fireworks and the likes going off just behind me. Now, what we have seen over the past 24 hours is allegations that some of the demonstrators have held, well, what could only be called kangaroo courts, in which they've rounded up groups that they are claiming are instigators and putting them on some form of trial and forcing them to apologize for what they've done. Now, this is just one of the things that's going on around here in Kiev at the moment, as both this standoff continues. What we are really seeing, though, right now is something of the eye of the storm. Sunday and Monday saw horrific violence here. Tuesday night has seen something of a calming, but that's only expected to pick up later in the week, because it's Unity Day here in Ukraine on Wednesday, and that's expected to see many more people come from outside of the capital here into Kiev to take part in these demonstrations. Now, we could only hope that they stay with some semblance of peace. However, what we've seen over the previous few days and what we're seeing going on right now doesn't really suggest that that's going to be the case. Of course, we'll keep you updated on what's going on here in Kiev here on RT.
International's Peter Oliver right there. The riots in Kiev have highlighted the rise in nationalist movements and extremism in the country. At the forefront of the violence is believed to be an ultra-right movement known as the right-wing sector, made up mostly of radical young people. A statement has emerged on the internet, allegedly from the organization, and essentially it calls for a revolution. A political commentator, Alexander Nekrasov, he believes the unrest is pushing Ukraine to the brink.
All the signs are pointing to a chaos, basically, emerging in Kiev. And I think what is more worrying is that the so-called nationalists are basically extremists who are trying to create even more chaos and more mess. These are extremists. These are basically semi-terrorists. The moderate opposition is itself worried now that the situation is getting out of control. And how can how can anybody say that these people, for example, are protesting against the government's decision not to join the EU after we see them attacking police with Molotov cocktails and bricks and mortar and so on, and basically breaking all the rules of a civil society.